现在正在连通 YouTube 的信号。
Yeah, it is.
各位网友大家好，欢迎收看天维大咖秀，我是主持人糖糖。那今天的大咖秀呢，将会在直播、YouTube、Facebook 3平台并机直播。那首先接通的呢，会是 YouTube 的直播信号。各位 YouTube 的网友呢，大家好。Hello everyone, you are watching Sky Kiwi Talk Show. It's an entrepreneur and leadership interview program which covers over 1 million local and overseas Chinese people both in New Zealand and China. It's a very influential program and received many positive reviews from high-end audiences. Christina, are you ready?
Yes.
各位网友大家好，欢迎收看天维大咖秀，我是主持人糖糖。那首先呢，给大家介绍一下您在收看的这一档直播节目天维大咖秀，这是我们新西兰天维网最新推出的一档直播视频类节目。这个节目呢，通过专家专家和我们主播跨屏连线的方式，用专业的视角向各位网友科普常识，畅谈呢现在社会上面大家比较关心的热门话题。那过去的几期直播呢，我们累积的观看数已经突破了600万，非常感谢各位网友的关注，希望大家可以继续的支持我们。那今天的这期大咖秀呢，我们有幸邀请到 Connor English， 这个名字大家是不是觉得有点似曾相识的感觉？他其实呢是前总理 Bill English 的亲生弟弟，那他曾经担任了新西兰内阁高级成员、新闻秘书、私人秘书及顾问，以及新西兰房地产协会的首席执行官等职务。那 Connor 呢目前是 Silvereye 这家公司的 Managing Director。那 Connor 在政府关系构建、政策、农业、出口投资、科技，还有智慧城市建设等方面呢，都拥有非常丰富的经验的。另外一位呢，非常漂亮的女士就是 Joe。那 Joe 呢，在高级公共关系管理领域呢，有超过25年的经验。她曾就任新西兰前副总理及外交部长麦金农阁下的新闻秘书官。那 Joe 在惠灵顿的市政府呢，也担任了议员的职位，长达9年的时间。那其中有6年的时间呢，是担任经济投资部的主席。目前呢，是 Silvereye 的 Managing Director。下面这位美女呢 ，Christina 尹呢，是这个 Silvereye 奥克兰分部的负责人。那在银行业啊、金融业、非营利组织，他都有多年的工作经验，曾经担任 BNZ 银行商务开发经理。他擅长的领域呢是分析客户需求，为客户提供发展规划的建议、商务开发等等。今天非常荣幸，我们请到 Christina 来做我们的特邀主持。那他和 Connor 啊、Joe 啊，他们一起共事，他们更专业的为我们探讨今天这个题，就是什么样的安全服务可以节省数十亿的美元，以及更全面的保护我们的健康。那再次提醒大家了，今天的大咖秀呢会在直播、YouTube 还有 Facebook 3个平台同时直播，欢迎大家呢去 YouTube、Facebook 关注我们新西兰天维网 skykiwi.com。大家关注我们之后呢，在以后的我们的直播的时候呢，都可以收到这个直播的提醒，就不会错过我们每一期的节目了。在接下来的直播里呢，我希望大家可以在这3个平台上面积极的留言跟我们互动，多抛一些难题出来，考一考我们今天来的几位大咖。好了 ，Christina， 下面呢，我把这个话筒交给你，接下来的直播看你了。
好，非常感谢 Doris， 非常谢谢天维网给我们 Silvereye 这样子一个宝贵的机会来和大家做一个面对面的交流。那前面 Doris 也介绍了一下我们 Silvereye 的2位执行董事周女士和 Connor 先生。那 Connor 的话，对，他是这个 English 的名字大家都应该非常熟悉了，是我们前总理的弟弟。那非常感谢 Connor 和 Joe 今天也在百忙之中抽出了时间来参加这样一个 talk show 的节目。那在节目开始之前呢，我希望在电脑前面的朋友们，大家都 stay home, stay safe 哈。我知道很多的朋友他们都会说在家里带着孩子，然后还要在家工作是非常比较难去管理的一个事情，小孩子跑来跑去的，我还要专心工作。那其实我们的周女士她自己也有6个小孩，所以我也很想跟她吸取经验，说6个孩子怎么样又能把自己的工作做好，又能照顾这6个孩子。Joe, we're just talking about, being a very successful businesswoman. You also have 6 beautiful children around the house, kids around the house, how you cope that, how you manage that, work and then, life balance, how you do that?
Oh, well, it's been a busy 25 years, but no, we seem to manage all right. But in our bubble at the moment, we've actually got 8 of us, including a 23-day-old granddaughter, which is absolutely fantastic. Really, really lovely to have a little granddaughter with her mum and dad that have come back from the UK. So yeah, we're feeling very thrilled about that. But yeah, no, I've been very fortunate over my life to be able to work and also to have a family as well.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. And congratulations on the granddaughter that you newly on board to the family.
Yeah.
Very exciting news. Connor, you've been helping with Joe?
Yeah, I help out a little bit, but we've been very lucky, Christina, because about 3 months ago, 4 of our children were overseas. We had 1 in Texas, 1 in London, 1 in Beijing, and 1 in Germany. And now all those 4 children are at home in our house with us. So we're very pleased to have them back before the virus struck, so to speak.
Oh, that's really good to know, Connor. 那 Connor 当时Connor 也给大家大概介绍了一下啊，他们现在一个大家庭8口人住在他们自己的 house， 在这个 bubble 里面，大家都 stay safe, stay strong。那我们今天without further ado， 我们就要开始讲我们今天的这个 topic。这篇文章呢，其实是在 Connor 先生在4月16号的时候呢，在英文先驱报有发表过这样一篇文章。那大家知道，在这个 virus 的影响下，我们的政府发布了这个 essential service 的这样子的一个policy。但是我们 Connor 先生呢，他有另外一个 view 是说，如果说我们把这个 essential 改成 safe 一个单词的改变是不是可以给这个经济带来更大的利益和好处？那我们今天就来探讨一下这个问题。All right, Connor, so we talk about the article recently you published, and then the point that you make is that if we change essential service to safe service, potentially it could save billions in our health as well. So can we just kickstart from the first point of view that you mentioned that to the business, the client is the key. So can you just talk to us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, okay. Well, look, thank you very much, Christina and Doris, for having us on. Yeah, look, I wrote the article because I just thought it was important that politicians sort of simplify what can be a very complicated decision-making process in what is an unprecedented situation globally. And whether you're from New Zealand or China or United States or elsewhere in Asia, it's very challenging for governments to make decisions about how they should implement policy to cope with this virus. So there were 4 things that I thought that politicians should think about. And the first one, yeah, was exactly that customers matter. If you don't have a customer, you don't have cash. And if you don't have cash, then you need some cash either from the investor in your business or from the bank or from the government. And what many governments have done around the world over the last couple of months is basically tried to replace the cash that the customer brings in with cash from the government, because governments have said you're not allowed to have a customer because it's too unsafe. So I think sometimes some politicians haven't quite comprehended how important having access to a customer is for a small business. And we're now seeing in New Zealand, firms like Burger King, for example, who haven't had a customer for, several weeks, have gone into liquidation. And there's going to be a lot of other small businesses go into liquidation because they're not allowed to have that customer. So it's vital that the government allows businesses access to customers as soon as they possibly can, and it's safe.
Thank you, Connor. Joe, have you got any notes that you want to add on to that point as well?
Yeah, well, I completely agree with Connor, but of course the other thing is that you can't really replace the cash flow from a customer entirely with a subsidy, because you've still got to pay your PAYE or your taxes, your provisional tax, you've got to pay your rent, you've got to pay your rates, all of these other expenses, your overheads and whatnot, that simply cannot be replaced just by a partial subsidy. And I'd say, you know, it is very, very hard for small business in this environment. You know, we're having to react really quickly and make big decisions, often around small teams of people. You know, so it's very personal, the decisions that you're making in terms of how you're treating your staff and the restructuring that you've got to do. But it's also these big companies as well. I mean, I think even just today, Tahu are looking at laying off 300 of their 500 staff. I mean, it's huge. So yeah, agree. At the end of the day, though, you can't have a business if you don't have a customer, and it's not employers that pay wages and salaries, it's customers.
Thanks, Joy. 那我现在给大家大概总结一下刚才 Connor 和 Joe 两位给我们大概讲的这个意思啊。那他们觉得说呢，对于一个企业来说啊，他们客户才是至关重要的。那其实我们有一个美国著名企业家哈，他叫亨利福特，他曾经说过一句非常有名的话，他说：“真正给员工发工资的不是老板，而是客户。”那客户如果一个企业它失去了这个客户的话，就意味着这个企业失去了收入。然后就无法给员工去发放这个工资，那这样子的话，这个经营持续下去是会在一个恶化的状态。那如果企业要持续进行运作的话呢，或者你有投资者的资金介入进来，或者我们是从银行或者像政府这样子的方面呢，去得到这样的一个贷款的资助。那刚才 Connor 也说了啊，我们的那个汉堡王，大家可能在新闻上已经看到了，由于在这4周的时间里面没有这样子客户的一个支持，他们已经进入了一个清算的阶段。那还有一些肉铺啊、独立的加油站呐、一些初创的公司呢，他们其实现在也是在一个比较困难的境地里面。那我们其实每一个这样的经营者是非常能感受到这样一个迫切的一个需求的。那 Connor 的疑问是说，我们的政府官员真的是能了解我们这样中小型企业在这个virus 当中遇到这样实际的困难，他们是真的清楚的吗？那政府他选择这样防范性的措施是一个必要的一个决定和选择，并且也是一个正确的选择。那对于禁闭的具体执行呢，特别是我们后来说到的控制入境呀、病毒测试啊和跟踪以及个人防护设施上面的这一些具体问题啊，大家的其实想法和观点呢是不太一致的。一方面认为我们关闭边境以后呢，就意味着我们将国际消费者呢拒之了门外。那另一方面呢，我们认为选择关闭是所有非必要的生意。那这样子呢，阻断了我们对本地市场的一个消费，也导致了我们本地市场的一些中小型企业面临了这样子一个困难。那这一系列其实都会导致一个连锁的反应。那我们政府当然在这个方面是做出了一些补救的措施，它给我们发放了一些 wage subsidy 这样子一些好的一些政策出来，但是这些钱从政府出来，其实在某一方面来说，我们是需要偿还的。那这个钱它又是从哪里来？这个是我们值得要去思考的一个问题。那接下来的话，我们有请 Connor 和 Joe 再继续跟我们讨论下去。那第二点呢，我相信 Connor 在他之前的文章当中有说，他也提到了这个钱哈，我们政府发放了这么多的钱，那这个钱是从哪里来的？不是打风刮来的，那到底是哪里来的呢？我们让 Connor 和 Joe 来给我们解释一下。Connor, so in your article you also mentioned the money is not, from the backyard of your tree. It's coming from somewhere. So can you just tell us a little bit more about your view on that?
Yeah. Well, look, it's just following on then, if we don't have a customer and we're getting the money from the bank or from the government, at the moment in New Zealand, the government has provided a wage subsidy of $580, and this is a partial subsidy, so it doesn't cover the full costs of the wage, and as Joe pointed out, it doesn't cover anything like all the other overheads if the cash that comes from your customer is zero. So I think sometimes some politicians can think that there is a magical tree out in the backyard where the small business owner can go and harvest some cash and put it in the till to replace the money that hasn't come from the customer, and everything should be fine. Well, that's just not the case. A lot of small businesses are living from week to week. A lot of small business owners are actually making less money than they're paying their staff. They're working very, very hard, and it's very challenging. So again, when you're not allowed access to a customer, there isn't that magical tree to replace that money. And I think the second thing is it's the same for governments. the government has spent $10 billion on this wage subsidy, which I think was a great idea, and it's very good that the government have done that. But there's forecasts that well, not forecasts, but scenarios that suggest that our unemployment could be as high as 700,000 people. Now, if we were to apply that $580 subsidy to those 700,000 people, that would be $400 million a week or $20 billion a year. Now, the government's got to pay for that. It's either got to raise taxes, it's got to borrow money, or it's got to sell something like an asset, because it doesn't have a big tree out the back that just grows money as well. So for governments and for businesses, when you spend money to try and resolve the issue with the virus, somewhere, somehow, sometime, it's got to be paid for. So this thing that our politicians just need to be conscious of, that there's not this magical money tree that makes everything easy, because there is no free lunch at the end of the day.
Thank you, Connor. Joe, I understand that you've been working with the government, for quite a period of long time in the Wellington Council. So from your point of view, what do you think about this?
Well, I mean, I think that it's right. You've always got to be really careful. I mean, at the end of the day, the money has got to be paid back somehow. So I guess what concerns me, and particularly with our family and the young ones coming through, is this whole intergenerational debt that we're going to be leaving behind. And I suppose the young, a lot of our kids are still paying off big student debts. They don't have a lot of money now, and they're looking down the barrel of many billions of money that they're going to have to, that ultimately is going to have to be paid back. And I think that's scary for the kids. And I think there's a lot of uncertainty there, and they're sort of thinking, well, hang on, what does this mean for us and for our future? How are we ever going to be able to afford a house? How are we going to get on the property ladder? How are we going to be able to afford to have a family? So, I think there's anxiousness and concern, and quite deep concern and anxiousness among our young people too, about, really what does all of this mean for them?
Thank you, Joe. 那刚才我们两位Silver 的 Managing Director 也说了啊，这个企业主的钱它不是大风刮来的。那企业主他们首先企业主本身他们在后院就没有什么摇钱树之说，可以随时变现出钱来给这个困难时期的这个运营来做一个补贴。所以呢，在困难的时候呀，我们很多的企业都会选择一个大幅开支的一个检索，那有可能会出现裁员呀、现金流中断呐、收入锐减呐，然后他们的财报可能也不是特别的好看。那企业主他和其他人一样也需要生活，那他们有账单要去支付，甚至在困难的时候，很多的企业主他们的收入可能比员工的收入要更加的少。显然 Honor 的 concern 是说，我们有一些政客呢没有把这一点考虑在内。当然政府的钱呀，它也不是从天上掉下来的，后院也没有摇钱树。那么虽然全世界的政客都觉得他们有，但事实上却不是这个样子的。我们理解的这个观点是说，羊毛呢，它肯定是出在羊身上的。如果政府它需要规划更多的支出，那也就意味着他们在将来需要征更多的税，他们要做信贷或者是出售一些比较有价值的东西。当然有这些做法，它可以在困境中给我们先开辟一条路出来，但是 end of the day 这总归是要被归还的。那我们周女士刚才也说了，那这个归还她的一个 concern 和她的一个担心是说，对我们下一代来说，是否需要他们来偿还这些债务？那他们以后要怎么样去买房？他们以后的学生贷款会不会更多？这一些无形的压力和不确定的压力，对他们来说是一个非常大的焦虑。那我们在那个新闻上可能大家也看到了，近期财政部的一些报道，他们的一个预估是说，可能在新西兰在将来会有69万人的左右可能面临一个失业的状态。那举个例子，我们看看这些数据，假设这些人他们的补贴现在是585元每一周，那么政府它每周的支出已经超过了4亿纽币，而每一年的话，这个支出大概在200亿纽币左右。那这一些钱它要从何而来呢？这个是我们有的第二个一个顾虑。那接下来的话呢，我会让Connor 我们继续再聊啊，这篇文章他接下来会提到的一些观点。Connor, so you also mentioned that to focus on the health of the people in New Zealand, it's not just about coronavirus, it's actually talking about the health system in a whole. Can you tell us a little bit more your point of view on that?
No, absolutely. Look, I mean, just before I do that, the first 2 points about the customer mattering and money not growing on trees, just to highlight how crucial it is for the government to get to level 2 as soon as it possibly can, because otherwise we are going to have, and like every day matters. You know, going another week or another 2 weeks or a couple of days here, it doesn't really matter. Well, actually, it does. And it does, because our mental health is going to be severely impacted across the New Zealand community. And I do wonder whether we've ended up having quite a narrow view of health just being about our lungs. And in very simplistic terms, you know, this COVID virus attacks your lungs. And it's a deadly virus, and it's absolutely appropriate that the government's taking the measures that it's taking. But we need to move forward as soon as we can, because we're complex humans, Christina. You know, we're not just about the lungs, we're about the whole rest of our body, and we're about our mind. And what goes on in our mind matters enormously. And when you lose your job, when you lose your business, when you lose your income, when you lose your house, that has a massive impact on you as a person. It has an impact on you, your own identity. It has an impact on your ability to contribute to society. And we're going to see every day that this lockdown continues is going to see more people losing, and it's going to see more people in mental distress. And so, in my view, we've got to look at the whole picture. You know, the figures that have come out today, you know, are less than 5 new cases, and that is wonderful, wonderful news. And you know, there's a complicated decision about staying the course, but probably today there's 5 dead people who've committed suicide because they've lost their businesses, because they've had this tragedy of not being able to access their customers and money not growing on trees. So I think it's really, really important that the government takes a more of a holistic view of the whole community and the whole person, not just focusing on a virus that attacks the lungs. That's important, but it's not the only thing that's important.
Thanks, Connor. Joy, have you got anything you want to add on as well?
Well, I mean, I don't envy anyone that's in the roles at the moment that they're in, having to make the decisions around how we handle this pandemic and this situation in New Zealand. As Connor said, it is incredibly complex. But you know, I'm reflecting today on the fact that my mother is 80 and broke her hip on Monday. She's been in a rest home. I haven't been able to see her for 5 weeks, and I can't go to visit her in the hospital. I haven't, you know, she could be in the hospital for another 4 weeks and then back into the rest home. And I'm just starting to think, actually, isn't there a way, you know, could I not get some PPE and be tested and just go in and just give her a hug? Because, you know, you can't get a hug over the internet. You can't get a hug through the phone. And I do feel particularly concerned about the elderly. I mean, I know they're very vulnerable to COVID, but they're vulnerable to a lot of other things too, like loneliness and depression as a result of that. And, you know, I just wonder if we aren't forgetting about some other things that we need to take into consideration. But look, it is complex. It's complex. And, you know, as I say, you know, I do respect that our leaders have got a very difficult job to do, but you know, I think there might just be a point in that. I noticed there's a cancer drug, for example, that's not going to be funded by Pharmac anymore, lung cancer, actually Keytruda, and you know, actually apparently 30 people a week die potentially of, you know, lung cancer associated illnesses. So I don't know, it's really complicated, but you know, we do need to look at things holistically in the big picture here.
Thanks, Joe. 那刚才我们 Connor 和 Joe 都提到了啊，关注我们国民健康是不是只集中在现阶段这个肺炎问题，还是我们有更多的东西我们需要考虑进来的？那 Connor 先生刚才提到说，我们人类的它的生理和心理结构，它是一个非常复杂的物种哈。然后因此我们通过保养及锻炼来保证身心的活跃度。那在新西兰呢，我们其实是有一个非常复杂但是又非常称职的这样一个医疗卫生体系。当然在这个体系当中也需要金钱来支持。 那对于冠状病毒来说，它是一个攻击我们肺部的这样子一个非常严重的一个病毒，那甚至给到一些有潜在其他疾病的人或者抵抗力差的这个人群是带来高风险的一个死亡率的。那没有人会想面对死亡，但是现目阶段来说，我们的政客呢，他会决定在医疗支出上投入了一个大量的资金，但是这个问题 ，Kona 想说的是，他说是不是我们现阶段只应该关注这个冠状肺炎，而忽略了其他一些需要来被帮助的在这个医疗上面的人？刚才 Kona 他也提到了说一个我们精神上的一个支持，可能由于这样病毒的出现，很多人他失去了工作呀，他们可能心情不好呀，可能会导致他们精神上的一些崩溃啊。那这些人在这个连带的反应当中，他们是不是被忽略了呢？我们是不是应该给他们更多的关注呢？那我们周女士其实也给到了我们一个很好的例子，她的自己的母亲哈，由于摔了一跤，可能现在在住院已经5周，因为这个essential service 这样子的policy 出来以后，她可能没有办法去见她的母亲，只能通过电话、视频和网络。那对于这样子年纪大的老人来说，他们可能更需要的是一个身体上的一个互动和交流，他们需要有一个拥抱，这个是在我们的网络上面是达不到的。那我们提出的一个概念是说，是不是可以让像这样子的直系亲属，他们做一个 test， 他们去做这样一个 test 以后，有一些 PPE 的防护措施，能让他们去见上自己的亲人一面，在做好这个 safe， 就是我们回到这个主题哈，做到这个 safe 的情况下，这个 essential 是否就真的是那么必要了呢？我们可不可以找到一个更人性化的、更加好的一个方法来面对这样子的一个病情呢？那我们有一个财报，它上面是这样说的：它在19年到2020年这个年度，我们这个新西兰的 Vote Health 它的预算，给到整个新西兰它的那个全身各类疾病的这样一个预算，其实是有199个亿的新元这样子。那这一个钱上面我们是有多少？政府是有多少？它是 focus 在这个 coronavirus 上面。但又给了多少是由这些连带反映出来的这一些需要关心和帮助的人，这个投入又是多少？这是值得我们去思考的一个问题。All right, thanks, Joy and Kona. That's very helpful. I think the last point is lots of people they want to know about is we need to understand why this is so important, why safe is more important. Kona, so what's your comments on this one here? Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Christina. Look, yeah, the point I was making is that the why does matter. You know, why a government does something matters enormously for the reason that you need to make sure you're achieving the outcomes that you want to achieve. And the outcome we want to achieve in this situation is we want to save lives and we want to get on top of this pandemic and we want to get our economy back to normal. So, you know, the government started off 4 weeks ago saying that we had a very strict lockdown, which was all about you could only basically leave your home if you were doing something that was essential. But however, there's been a lot of activities that may not be essential, but enable people to get a customer and do business and avoid all the negative things we've been talking about for the last wee while. So I guess what I'm suggesting, and the government's gone in this direction, is that rather than focus on what someone arbitrarily, some official somewhere arbitrarily says, this is essential and this isn't. So it's essential to have a supermarket where you can buy bread, but it's not essential to have a bakery where you can buy bread. It's not essential to have a butcher where you can buy meat. So to me, it's more about what is safe, because what we're trying to do is save lives. So if you can go into a supermarket and buy bread, why can't you go into a bakery and buy bread? You know, it doesn't make any sense to me. So that's why the government has, in its recent announcements, has sort of gone in that direction and said, we are going to focus more on the safe rather than the essential. But the proof is going to be in the pudding, because they're saying they're going to do that. But what's going to matter is on Monday night is what people can do next week that they can't do this week and still stay safe. So, you know, we've got to keep adapting. And just because we put rules in place 4 weeks ago, we should have the flexibility to change and adapt as we learn as we're going. And, as I say, today's number of cases was about 5. To me, that would suggest that our ability to go to even level 2 should be sooner rather than later, and not just stay in level 4/3 just for the sake of it because we made up some rule. So we've got to understand the why. We've got to keep adapting. And as Charles Darwin said, he said, it's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the ones the most responsive to change. So as a country, we've just got to keep adapting as we move through this pandemic.
Thanks, Connor. Joe, I'm quite interested to get your view on this, because one side you will have the government, have the essential service in place, have those rules, lockdown, level 4 in place, just to keep, all the people here safe. And then on the other side, you will have the business struggling. They need a cash flow. They need their customer. It's very hard for them, and then causing problems as well. So what is your view on this? And then what do you suggest that we can actually balance this situation?
Thanks, Christina. I think this is really interesting. New Zealand does have this huge advantage in that we're actually very small. Actually we're the size of Melbourne. We're a city for most countries, quite a small one. So, I think there have been unintended consequences through this rule-based system where effectively, the government hasn't meant to, but kind of has picked winners. And for some people it's a great situation, and for others it is not. And you have to ask yourself, well, why is it okay to go to the supermarket and get some food, but I can't go to Mitre 10? They've still got big aisles. They could still have people, separated by 2 meters, put in measures to do all this sort of thing. So I think now it's really important that the government listens and is courageous, actually, in terms of amending and adapting and sort of pivoting really to a new normal for us, because we're five weeks into lockdown. It is taking a toll on business for many people. Everyone's just getting tired. It's quite exhausting kind of thinking of new things to do in the same environment all the time. I can't even imagine what it's like in household with little children. But I think we are a little country, so we have this ability where we can adapt really quickly, and if we can identify safe ways to do things, well, let's get on and do it, and let's let people trade, and let's let people sell their goods and services in a safe way so that their businesses can survive.
Thanks, Joe. 那刚才我们聊了一下哈，就说这个 safe 为什么特别重要？那我们其实看待事情的结果呀，我们远比单单去解读为了达到这个目的而制定的规则其实是更加重要的。那如果这些规则它无法达到他想要的这个目的，那这个规则本身好像看上去已经没有什么意义了。这个是 Kona 他提出的第一个观点。那也许我们 Kona 说，是不是应该去忽略这个基本服务它本身的这个定义，而去 多关注一下什么是安全服务，它这个本身一个词的差别，它可能会带来的是数十亿的商业价值的改变，以及更加一个健康的导向。那目前的政策呢，政府是说必要的或者是不必要的，它这个是根据我们对商业运作和我们个人行动的限制做出的一个规范的一个定义，而安全这个因素呢是完全是被忽略的。在这个情况下，那其实他们刚才也举了很多的例子，说为什么 表明不必要的这一个 service 它没有太大的这个意义。那比如说 Mitre 10它这么大的一个公司，它完全是有能力让大家保持在一个2米的安全的这个范围里面，他们也可以像supermarket 一样能做好这些防护措施，为什么不能让他们开门运营呢？那如果客户他可以在超市买到面包，为什么不能让 bakery 这些经营小生意的人重新开放他们的业务，让他们也能 在这样子一个比较困难的时期能继续的经营呢？如果我们能把这个安全的这个词做到位的话，是不是我们可以更好的来帮助这些中小型企业更快的来适应这样子的一个新环境下的这样一个商业的运作？那总体而言，其实我们政府呀，它对这一次的这个疫情防范是做得非常好的。 Kona 当时也用了我们那个查尔斯·达尔文所说的一句名言哈，他说生存下来的物种，它 肯定不是最强壮，也不是最聪明的，而是最能适应变化的这样子一个物种。那 Connor 的意思是说，在我们这个现阶段下，我们的政府应该更加的积极的来做出它的不断的改进。根据线下的情况，你看我们一天一天我们那个 confirm 的 case 越来越少了，是不是政府应该更快的去来加速它的改进，让我们这一个商业的这个社会更加的来适应现在的这个变化节奏，让更多的中小型企业更快的回归到他们的工作岗位当中来尽快的运营。这个是我们想要讨论的这样子的一个观点。那基本上我们大概前面聊了一下 Connor 他在这篇文章中提到的这4个观点。那我相信很多人大家想要了解的说，对于我们中小型企业来说，在现阶段这样一个困难的情况下，我们怎么样从自身而言能更加的来做一些什么事情来积极应对这样子的一个疫情，让我们在接下来的过程中能更好的尽快的恢复到原来的状态。那我们接下来也请 Connor 和 Jonah 来给我们大家说一下。Connor and Joy, I think based on our company's background, we've been dealing with lots of clients in this difficult timing and situation, business heavily being affected by this coronavirus. And so just from your point of view, how the business can help themselves at this very difficult time, what they can do from their point of view to help recover from this situation ASAP. We're looking at a bright future because we're gonna finish the lockdown very soon and then moving to level 3 and then level 2. So what can they do to help the situation, help themselves?
Yeah, well, I think, Christina, I think it is worthwhile reiterating that point that we are looking towards a positive and bright future for New Zealand. We are in the middle of this sort of maelstrom, if you like. And I think the first thing we can do is remember that, is that this will pass. We've had these sorts of issues before, not for a long time, but, we had the Spanish flu here in New Zealand back in 1918, and it killed thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And it passed. So I think the number one thing we can do is realise that we're in a transition. And we're in a transition from the world of sort of pre-pandemic to sort of post-pandemic. So keep positive and keep believing that we will, it will be successful. But that's the first thing. The second thing I think is pretty important, is to focus on what you can control. We can't control the number of cases that happen every day. But what we can do is we can control how many times a day we wash our hands. We can control how we manage our staff. We can control, some of the financial, costs of our business. We can look at our costs. We can look at how we engage with our customers in different ways. So, this is where I think we can get the best out of the Kiwis, is that, we're a nation of innovators. And now is the time to innovate and focus on what you control and just forget about things you can't control, So, and I think the third thing really, from my perspective, is just do stuff that's useful. It's not useful thinking about what might be happening on the other side of the world if it doesn't impact on your business. It's not useful getting sad. What's useful is taking action, doing stuff you can control, and keeping focused on a positive future.
Thank you, Connor.
Christina.
Thank you. Joe, anything that you would like to add on? Some notes that you would like to talk to the customers that may be facing the difficult challenge at the moment?
Yeah, I think we know that, when we have these periods of pain, and I remember being a child in the 1980s in New Zealand, and we had massive agricultural reform and subsidies came off, and it was really, really hard growing up on a farm as a little girl. And to be honest, it's actually stuck with me forever. And I've always been sort of aware that, we've been through very prosperous times in New Zealand in the last sort of 25 years, but actually there's been a lot of pain prior to that. And, then there was the GFC, and that was pretty tough. And so there are tough times, but we have come through. And obviously people will innovate, and, there'll be amazing businesses that'll spin out of these tough times, like, Uber and whatnot. But I think it's about being honest and transparent. And at the end of the day, you know, we are just going to have to do some things differently. And so honesty and transparency, I think with customers and with staff is absolutely critical. You know, we're going to have to change some things that aren't working. What are we going to keep doing? What are we going to stop doing? And what are we going to do the same or do differently? Really have to put the lens onto that. Communicating is crucial with staff and customers and all stakeholders as well. Keep talking, you know, it's easy just to give up, but keep talking and be consistent with your communication, I think, and again, be honest and transparent with it. And, you know, keep going. Just one step forward is a step forward, and do everything you can. Because in times like this, I don't think there's any dumb ideas. You know, you just have to give everything a shot. And, you know, some businesses just won't make it. They just won't. But others will come through and they'll rebuild and they'll do things differently, and it'll be successful. But I think at the end of the day, we all want to know that we've done everything we can. So I think that's probably the advice that I'd give at the moment.
Thank you, Joy. 那刚才Connor 和 Joy 也跟我们分享了，那在这个非常时期，我们作为一个中小型企业的雇主，我们自己能够做一些什么事情来帮助我们度过这样子一个难关呢？那首先 Connor 他说第一个我们就要记住说，在这个转变的过程中，我们一定要保持一个非常积极的心态，这个是非常重要的。新西兰它在之前呢，其实也经历过这样一个西班牙的这样子一个大流感的这样子的一个过程，但它只是一个过程，它最终是会变好的。那在这样的一个过程中，我们自己要保持好一个非常好的心态，那去把我们的关注度呢，更多的放在我们能掌控的事情上面，而不要去过多的关注一些我们不能掌控的事情。就好像世界的另一端，如果他们在其他的国家有发生一些什么，如果现阶段跟你的生意没有产生太大的关系的话，我们把这个关注度先暂时的放在一边，不要让自己的心态去受到这样的一个影响。那在这个过程中，不可避免的有些企业他们无法在这样子的一个比较不好的环境中生存下来。那对于很多企业来说，其实我们可以把这个关注度放在我们是否能更多的去和我们的客户之前的客户、现有的客户做一个沟通，保持这个沟通一直的进行下去，这样子呢，在我们的这个经济重新复苏以后呢，我们不至于说我们把自己的客人去这样子有一个流失。我们是不是可以把我们的关注度放在我们去创建一些新的 platform 上面？比如说我们现在很多人开始关注我们的网络购物了呀，我的现在的生意是不是也可以关注一下这一个新的 platform 啊？我要怎么样去建立好这样子的一个 platform？ 我又怎么样去target 到我的新的客户？对于我的产品而言，我的客户群是否有改变？那知道我们现在在这个 lockdown 期间，可能很多的孩子和他的家长老一辈的住在一起那他们可能有更多的时间向我们年轻一代去接收到，比如说怎么样用 iPad 呀，怎么样用电脑怎么样在网上收集信息那对于这样子的一个 consumer 他 behavior 的改变，我们是不是可以做出一些应变？他们是否又会变成我们一个潜在的新的客户群？这些是我们值得去商讨和思考的一个问题。那对于我们自己重塑我们自己的一个品牌形象也好，我们是否可以看一些现在比较新的一些媒体的渠道比如说我们的抖音账号比如说我们的微信的一些广告比如说我们的天维网我们是不是可以把我们的一些产品的一个 promotion， 我们可以放在这样子更多的 digital 的这样一个 platform 上面去进行？那这些都是我们可以值得思考的。那这一次非常感谢Doris， 非常感谢给我们这样子好的机会来跟大家分享一些我们自己的一些心得。那我知道你现在也在很忙碌的收集一些可能我们在直播频道的一些朋友的问题。那今天 Connor 和 Joe 他们也会十分愿意的来和大家分享一下，如果大家有问题的话，他们也非常愿意来回答。
好的，谢谢 Christina。刚刚呢，你们3位给我们大家一些非常多启发的一些建议或者意见。那在刚刚我们直播的过程当中呢，我一直盯着我们各个直播平台。那有几个网友的留言呢，我觉得我是一定要摘取出来的。首先呢，有一个网友留言说，今天觉得 Christina 小姐姐美爆炸了，
谢谢，
很多的礼物。然后呢，有网友在一开始听到就是介绍 Joe 她是6个孩子的母亲的时候，觉得非常的惊讶，然后就留言说 Good work Joe。 然后这些就是有很多这种赞美的夸大家的一些言论，我要就先来告诉你们。接下来就是也有很多问题，那我刚刚就是接着我们刚刚讨论的4大点吧，我抽取了一些问题，是网友可能比较关心的方面。首先第一个就是有网友就关心到了，大家都能感受到，其实新西兰政府呢是很缺钱的了，目前这个状态。那会不会下一步的话会考虑说，加大力度去引入一些外商的投资呢？这个是网友非常关心的。
Okay. Joe, so we got some questions from our audience. First of all, they want to say, good job, Joe. You know, managing 6 kids and then doing your full-time job at the same time is quite amazing. So very well done. Also, Connor and Joe, there's a question about, you know, we know that New Zealand government doesn't have much money to, you know, giving the wage subsidies and all this money that you mentioned earlier. There's no backyard tree, you know, just money's coming out magically. So given that situation, do you think that in the future the government will seeking more foreign investment funds to New Zealand to help?
Yeah, we'll look at a couple of things on that, Christina. The fortunate thing for New Zealand is that successive governments of both National and Labour have actually managed New Zealand's book pretty carefully. And so unlike some other countries, we do actually have a pretty strong balance sheet. So our ability to borrow money without putting the economy into peril is actually quite large. And what Grant Robinson, the Minister of Finance, has suggested is that he's looking to borrow up to $50 billion. So the wages subsidy so far has cost about $10 billion. So I think going back to that initial point I was making about where the money comes from, it either is from your customer, the investor, or the government. The government actually does have quite deep pockets to throw at this problem. So, and it has done a number of things. You know, it's done the wage subsidy. It's you know, it's doing things like tax deferral. It's making it easier for provisional tax, those sorts of things. The other organisation in New Zealand or institution in New Zealand that's really come to the party is the Reserve Bank of New Zealand, and I used to be an independent advisor to it a couple of years ago. But what they have done is they've done things like delayed the implementation of capital requirements for the banks. So that means the banks have the capacity to lend at least $47 billion more than if those capital requirements had come in as they were originally planned. They've also done things like quantitative easing, or printing money, if you like, and they've been purchasing bonds from local and central government. So they've been literally pumping money into the system, and at the same time, they've lowered the OCR, the official cash rate, so that the cost of that money has remained very, very cheap on a historical basis. So between what the government's doing and what the Reserve Bank are doing, I think they've both actually operated pretty well, actually, in New Zealand's interests over the last couple of months. And they've undertaken a lot of initiatives and a lot of policies, which I think will be good for New Zealand getting through this pandemic.
Thank you, Connor. 所以刚才我们 Connor 先生说的意思是说我们新西兰政府和我们那个央行，它其实两管齐下，他们都做了很多的事情来帮助我们度过这一个比较难关的地方。那网友的 concern 可能是说我们新西兰是不是没有钱？那 Connor 的是说我们其实政府它的 balance sheet 还是非常健康、非常好的。我们的财政部部长Grant他之前也说他要borrow 50个 billion， 那现在的话我们这个 wage subsidy 用的钱可能是在10个 billion 左右。那所以说我们在财面上看起来，我们政府的这个财力是非常的 healthy， 非常的好的，不至于说到政府没有钱这样子一个。那我们的央行其实也做了很多的事情来保证说我们这一次来帮助这个新西兰呢度过这样子的难关。所以在现阶段来说，没有再存在网友说的政府没有钱或者追不入出这样子的一个阶段。对。
好的，谢谢 Christina。那我觉得网友的那个意思可能就是认为说，未来一段时间的话，新西兰的经济估计需要比较长的一段时间才能重振，才能恢复到原来的状态。所以可能想问 Connor 还有 Joe 的就是，是不是政府应该考虑说，在就是政策或者措施上面加大力度去吸引外商投资呢？这一块。
Connor, so we understand that it does take time for New Zealand's economy to recover after this pandemic. So will you agree or encourage or say that the government should look at more policies and opportunities for overseas investment? What's your view on that? Will that help with the New Zealand economy?
Yeah, look, New Zealand's a nation that's been built on overseas investment. We are where we are because we've had investment from overseas, and also we have produced goods and services here which we then have exported to overseas countries. So we're a very globally connected country in terms of capital inflows, goods and services outflows, and the other flow, of course, has been people, and so we've had very large net inflows of people from right around the world. Traditionally it was sort of Great Britain. More latterly, it's been sort of Asia and a bit more of Europe. So foreign investment has always been a very positive thing for New Zealand. And I guess going forward, I can't see that changing. We gain a lot when we get investment from overseas and access to customers who live in overseas countries.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Connor. Joe, will you agree with what Connor mentioned? Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And as I said before, we're just a small country of 5 million people. So I think over the years, we've about, $430 billion worth of foreign investment in New Zealand. I myself have been employed by plenty of companies that have been foreign owned, and of course have clients that are foreign, and it's crucial to New Zealand. My first job when I was a young graduate was working at New Zealand Aluminium Smelters, which was owned by the Australians and the Japanese. So I totally support foreign investment from anywhere in the world coming into New Zealand, and I think it's crucial for innovation. It's crucial for job creation. It just is very, very important.
Thank you, Joe. 那 Doris 他们两个也对于这个问题，他们觉得说新西兰本身它是一个小国家，它本身就大量的依靠了我们的外资的这样子一个投资来帮助这个国家的经济发展。新西兰它也是一个出口大国，它和中国、亚洲这一些国家它的那个出口比率也是很大，包括我们签署的中新贸易协议，这都很好的说明了我们新西兰一直在有这样子的一个外资注入的这样子的一个行为。那就他自己本身也工作过的几个公司都是由外资这样子背景的这样子的一个情况。那所以他们俩的个人的 view 是一定会大力的支持这样子外资进入到新西兰的这样子的一个状态，然后他们本身也觉得政府应该是要支持这样子的一个行为。
好的，非常感谢 Christina。那网友的问题还有很多，我的想法是这样子的，就是因为我们今天的这个直播间的时间差不多了，那后续的话，我觉得特别是中小企业主，如果我们各位客户有什么具体的一些问题或者需要得到咨询的地方，可以再联系我们 Christina， 对吧？
谢谢。
是的，那好的，我们今天呢非常感谢 Connor，Thank you Connor，Thank you Joe。也非常感谢 Christina， 今天来做我们的特邀主持，谢谢3位大咖呢给我们带来的这1个小时非常精彩的直播，那也谢谢各位网友的支持。今天的我们的直播节目呢就到这里了，那非常感谢呢刚刚在直播 YouTube 还有 Facebook 3个平台收看我们今天天维大咖秀直播的各位网友，那也欢迎各位网友呢在这3个平台上面关注我们新西兰天维网 skytv.com 的账号 follow 我们呢，以后任何一期的精彩节目呢您都不会错过。再次感谢 Christina 的帮忙，那今天谢谢2位大咖的到来， Thank you Connor, Thank you Joe。
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. 那非常感谢各位网友收看今天的天维大咖秀，我是糖糖，下一期节目我们再见，拜拜。
拜拜，再见。